Welcome to Living with Macular Degeneration, Mind, Body, Spirit. I'm Matthew Levine. I'm with the American Macular Degeneration Foundation, where our mission is to help those affected by macular degeneration to live their best possible lives. To do this, we fund research for cures and treatments, and we provide education and other kinds of resources. Through our advocacy work, we voice your concerns to the decision makers in Washington, D.C. And through programs like today's, we empower you with tools to improve your quality of life. In a few minutes, we'll be speaking with Doreen Holmes, who's a special, maybe unique yoga teacher. She'll be telling us her story and then leading us through a short seated yoga routine. So to be prepared for that, you might want to put on some loose clothes, grab a comfortable but simple chair, not an easy chair, but something firmer that you'll be able to use for this exercise. Doreen was diagnosed with macular degeneration about 12 years ago during a routine eye exam. After her diagnosis, she went through a period of depression and anxiety, but she found a coping tool in yoga. She went from being a low vision yoga student to being a yoga teacher. And she now teaches yoga at a local nonprofit in Rhode Island called Insight. She also runs a support group called Positive Outlook, and she's dedicated to empowering those with vision loss due to macular degeneration and other conditions, and inspiring them to find their path to thriving. Just a quick spoiler alert, in the rest of this video, you'll see me in my temporary home office, my bedroom, because we filmed this at a point during the pandemic when we were still finding ways to adjust to working remotely, using Zoom, that kind of thing. So let's welcome Doreen. And I was wondering if you might start with that period of depression that you experienced right after you were diagnosed.
So I was 56 years old, and I had gone to my regular eye doctor for a routine eye exam. And she said to me, I think you need to see a specialist. And I said, Doc, whatever I have, I'd rather hear it from you. You've been my eye doctor for 20 years. She said, no, I'm not a specialist, so you have to go. So she called him and he said, I can see you tomorrow. And I'm like, is it that bad that I gotta go right away? And, she said, no, you can go. But of course I didn't sleep all night. So my husband and I went, and he said, you have macular degeneration. I said, is that the thing that you go blind? And he explained it all to me, that you lose your center vision. And he said that, it's in the early stages now, but I want you to get all the tools and learn. I want you to join Insight, become a client there. And they'll teach you. And I want to see you every 3 months. And he talked about the wet and the dry because I had no idea what it was. Of course, he told me not to Google it. That's the first thing I did when I got home. And I think that is the worst thing you can do. Unless you're on a special website like yours, the American ADM, but the others are not good because they scare you to death, and they show you pictures of like little kids and their face is all black and you can see the rest of them. I'm like, I'm not going to see my grandchildren. So I went into such a depression. I was crying all the time. I couldn't eat. I was taking yoga at my local YMCA. And I said to my yoga teacher, I really can't, I'm struggling to see you. And she said, then I'm not doing my job right. So you should just listen to my cues and not be able to see me. So I'm going to position you where you can't see me and just listen. So she said, like, right palm down, left palm up. And it worked. So then a few months went by and she said, you know, Doreen, you should really become a yoga teacher. I said, oh, you know, I just love taking it. But anyways, I went. I told them that I was visually impaired. By now, it's like 4 years later, and my the macula got worse. The drusen was bad. I can't see at all now out of the left eye, and the right eye is 2200. So I told them that I couldn't read a lot because it was a lot of reading. So people read for me. I had the magnifier, but you feel like a fool, like with the magnifier. But so I went and I got certified, and I became the first legally blind yoga instructor in the United States. And I was like, seriously? um, but then Insight, as I was a client there, they asked me if I would teach yoga for 6 weeks, a workshop. And I said, sure. So I said, but I don't want to get paid. I want to just do this, you know. And of course, I knew all the people because all the students because I was friends with them. And but I didn't know how to instruct them because I had some that were totally blind. So I would say, look at your right hand. And my friend would say, well, I would if I could see it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt so badly. And then I would say, put your arms out to a T. And she said, do you want a braille T or a regular? I don't know what a T looks like. And I'm like, so I went back to my yoga teacher at the Y and I told her this, and she said, that's good to know. She said, because a lot of people like you either can't see me or my cues have to be different and yours have to be totally different. So she said, tell them to extend your arms and turn your head up to the right instead of looking at your hand. So it's just a matter of wording. And then I told them to ask them to put their foot on the edge of the mat so you know you're at the edge of the mat. And if you're doing another pose that you have to extend your other leg in the back, put that heel on the edge so you know you're on the edge of the mat. And it's just the little tricks that I learned and cues that you learn that benefit myself and the students. So anything that happens at Insight, any workshop, there's always feedback. They always send you a letter for feedback. All the feedback said they want yoga at least once a month. So the executive director, who is amazing, he said to me, would you like to teach once a month? I said, I would love to. So still I don't want to get paid. It's like, he said, but Doreen, you could get like $50 a class. And I'm like, no, it's not for the money. I said, you can't put a price on making someone feel good about themselves. You know, they're laughing, doing the poses, they felt so confident because I was visually impaired. And they're like, she doesn't know what she's doing any more than we do. She's saying right, we already did the right, and they were correct because I'd say, all right, lift your right arm. And they said, we already did the right side. I said, okay, do the left. And it was fun and it was upbeat and they had a good time. I said, I don't care if you're sitting in the chair. As long as you're moving and having fun, that's all that matters. So then the executive director came in. He never comes in the yoga class because it's crazy. We're all laughing and joking. I don't play yoga music. I think I was playing like Bob Marley or something. And he comes in and he said, "Can I speak to you?" So they're like, "Oh, Doreen's in trouble." Well, to make a long story short, I don't know if you know of the Myra Kraft Award from the Patriots. It's an award in honor of Bob Kraft's wife. She did a lot of volunteer work. Um, and I also am volunteer coordinator at a soup kitchen, and I've been there for 30 years. Um, so he said, "I nominated you for this award that Bob Kraft presents." And I'm like, "And why are you telling me this?" So my friends that are totally blind, they're like, "Look at Doreen's face and let me know if she knows what's going on." I go, "No, she does not know what's going on." So he said, "You got the award." And I went to Gillette Stadium, met the Patriots, met Bob Kraft, and Insight got $10,000 donated by the Patriots for me teaching yoga to the blind. And I broke down in the yoga room. I was crying. I said, "Oh my God." I said, "You know, all this just to make people happy. I don't expect anything." So then they're like, "Oh, now she's going to want to get paid." I said, "Stop it." So finally he said, "Doreen, I've got to give you money." He said, I can't do this. And then last year, they were looking for a social worker. So I continue to teach yoga. I sub at the Y when my yoga teacher is not there. And, um, he came in one day and said, "We're looking for a social worker." Not in the yoga room, he didn't come in. I was just sitting waiting. And I said, "But I never went to college to be a social worker." So he said, "But read all these bullet points and let me know if you can do this." So I said, "Yeah, I can talk to people. I can relate to what they're feeling." Not that the sighted people, at Insight don't have an understanding of the visually impaired or blind, but anyways, I got the job as client outreach coordinator. And let me tell you, Matthew, when I call someone and they say, "Honey, you really don't know what it's like to be having anxiety and struggling and having to ask people for rides," I said, "Actually, I do. I know, because I have macular degeneration." They're like, "Oh my God." So they open up to me and they tell me things, and they tell me of their anxiety and their fears, and it somehow makes them feel better. And it's just an incredible journey. And at first I used to say something bad has to happen for something good to happen, but I don't look at it that way. I look at it like something, a life altering situation happened, and I did not change the person that I am. I just changed the way I do things.
Doreen, I have to tell you, that's one of the most moving and uplifting stories I've heard
Oh,
from a person with macular degeneration.
thank
And
you.
at first, in hearing you, I thought you were very fortunate to encounter what sounds like an excellent physician who somehow made you calm enough to hear what you needed to hear and told you that you needed to reach out for other resources, which are recommendations we make at the foundation.
Yes.
But it also appears that you were a person who was already very giving to start with. And it sounds to me like that quality within you the ability to give to others helped you in some way to overcome this sense of grief and loss. And then you simply followed the path that was in front of you. It doesn't sound to me like you questioned it. So I think you've already given the best advice. I don't know if I can ask you for any more advice. I think we should just get into the yoga with you, because what you said was so complete. And we really thank you for sharing this with us.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So now how are we going to do some yoga?
Okay. So I think the best way is I thought of, like, getting a mat and doing all that. But I think for a lot of folks that have macular, they're older people, because my doctor told me I was very young to have it at 56. Some people get it young, but he said usually it's in their 70s. And so most of my class that I teach at Insight are older. So I do a lot of chair yoga. So I think that's the best thing to do, is to do some chair yoga. Okay. Do you want me to start now?
Sure, let's start.
Okay. I'll push my chair back a little bit. Okay. So I always start with my back against the chair. And if you're sighted, I'm just going to talk like I'm teaching a class. So if you're sighted, close your eyes or soften the gaze. And just clear your mind. Try to have your back against the chair. As we get older, we tend to shrug our shoulders. And just clear your mind and just breathe. And then you can open your eyes and then bring your palms together to your heart center. And inhale your head up and exhale your head down. And just think about the day and the weekend ahead. And always remember, never look down on anybody unless you're helping them up. And inhale your head up and place your palms on your thighs. And take a nice big inhale, and inhale your arms near your ears. And lean over to the right and feel a nice stretch in the left. And then come to center, and then over to the left. And then come to center. And then just float your arms down by your side and palms on your thighs. And then inhale the right arm up near your ear and lean over to the left. And then come up and then float that arm down. And then lift the left arm up near your ear and come over to the right. And then come up and then float that arm down. And inhale both arms out to the side and slowly circle them into the center. And then exhale them out. And when I say inhale and exhale, it's not big and deep. And then do it again. And then one more time out. And then float them down. And then come forward in the chair and hold on to the sides of the chair and lean back a little bit and see if you can lift your knees up. And then lower using your core. And then lift up. They hate this in class. And then lower. You're doing good, Matthew. And then lift up and hold it. And then try to extend your arms out. So you're balancing on your chair. And then lower down, lower your arms and your feet and take a breath. Yeah, they don't like me at that one. And this one's even worse. So lean back, hold on to the chair. Try not to cheat and have your back against the chair, but if you have to, go ahead. And then lift up your knees and just bicycle. Oh, and feel that burn in your core. Oh, yeah. And then back pedal. That's even more fun. Come on, we can do it. I don't know if Jennifer's with us, but and then lower down and sit back in the chair. And just breathe. And then come forward in the chair a little bit. And then swing your legs over the side of the chair. So now your right side is where where the back of the chair is. Yeah. So we're going to inhale our arms up near our ears. And we're going to come into a back bend. And then come up. And then we're going to come into a forward fold. So you can have your chest on your thighs. And then raise your arms up near your ears. And again, come into a back bend. And then come up. And then pull your body down and come into a forward bend. And then slowly come up. And close your eyes or soften the gaze. So if you want, you can come up and place your palms on the seat of the chair. You're probably better off with a stable chair with no wheels on it. So your back is, so your back is nice and straight. We're going to do a couple of things. I don't make these names up for these poses. This is called cat and cow. So for angry cat, we're going to arch our back up, palms are on the seat of the chair, and then we're going to drop our belly and lift our head up to happy cow. How this looks like a happy cow is beyond me. So angry cat and happy cow. And one more cat and hold it. And one more cow and hold it. Now turn the chair so you can place your hands on both sides of the chair. So you're going to step back. And you're going to push your hips back. So you're fairly away from the chair. You're going to push your hips back and your head between your arms. This is downward dog. And then you're going to push your body forward and you're going to come into plank. So now you're on the top of your toes. And then come back to downward dog. And then plank. And just one more downward dog and hold it. And one more plank and hold it. And then come up to standing. And just face forward. Palms forward. And close your eyes or soften the gaze. And just breathe. All right, so come to seated, back to where we started. And just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And just bring your palms together. And I always end my practice by saying namaste. And namaste means the light in me may shine in you. Namaste. Thank you. Did a good job, Matthew.
Thank you, Doreen. I've done a few different seated yoga sessions, but this one was very easy to follow.
Yes.
And also, got me to do some things that were difficult to do, especially the backward pedaling. But overall, I would say this is very, very much within the scope of what people should be able to do or aspire to do.
Right.
Could you just lead us out now by telling us a little bit one more time about your attitude toward living your fullest life with some vision loss?
My attitude from day one, after I went through, I only let it go 3 days of depression and anxiety, and I said, I don't want my children to see me like this. So my theory is that you can sit in a corner and feel sorry for yourself and have everybody do things for you, or be that independent person that you always were. And if you weren't independent, become independent. Ask for help. If you can't see the street sign, ask somebody. The markets have all changed because of COVID. You can go down one aisle, go up the other. Ask for help. Don't be ashamed, because I use my cane all the time, and people will say, oh, does she really need that cane? And I turn around and say, yes, I do. Would you like to put my shoes on? And they don't know what to say. I say it nicely, but you've got to find that inner strength. And if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your loved ones. And in return, it'll help you, because don't let it get to you. It'll drag you down, and you don't want to be that mean, angry person. Just take those wings and soar in a different way.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Nice to meet you, and have a great weekend.
We'll see you again. Thanks for being with us today. The American Macular Degeneration Foundation seeks to improve quality of life for those affected by macular degeneration, whether that's patients, family, friends, or anyone in their network. If you'd like more information on any of our programs or materials, or our Eat Right for Your Sight cookbook, you can visit our website at www.macular, or you can call us at 1-888-622-8527. Thank you again, and be well.